Hi. Welcome to another movie plot. Spoilers ahead. In the Empire of Izmir, powerful mages rule the common people, treating them as little more than slaves. While the Princess Savina wishes equality for her people, beneath the castle the leader of the Council of Mages Profion attempts to forge a scepter in defiance, hoping that it will allow him to control an army of gold dragons to conquer the kingdom. With the help of his villainous general Damodar, the evil mage tests out his newly created scepter on a gold dragon he has kept in the dungeons. After first appearing to successfully control the monster, the staff begins to wane, eventually failing the mage, causing the dragon to advance on him. So Profion effectively kills it by lowering a gate onto it Rancor style before it can reach him. The two begin to plot the takeover of the kingdom and the overthrowing of Princess Savina, as the dragon's blood runs into the waterways and catches the river on fire for the whole city to witness. Two teenage rogue thieves, Ridley and Snails, stare upon the blood-fueled river, speculating its origins, with Ridley blaming everything bad that happens in Izmir on the mages, rightfully so. While Snails believes things just are the way they are and there is nothing we can do about it. Ridley gets the genius idea to break in and rob the Sumbul Magic School, convincing Snails that the mages will be dealing with the fire and the two of them will become the envy of all thieves. Meanwhile, at the Council of Mages, Profion argues that Princess Savina will eventually use her own dragon staff to enforce her will upon them, feeling threatened by her desire to give rights to the common people, and he convinces the council to usurp her powers by stripping her of her scepter. Savina meets with the library wizard of the local mage school, Vilden, who tells her of another staff called the Rod of Savil, which can control red dragons, allowing her to give up her gold staff and still maintain a level of power over Profion. But a spy of Profion overhears her plan, and with the sudden realization that there is another staff, Profion sends Damodar to kill Vilden and return with the map to the staff's location. Meanwhile, Ridley and Snails scale the enormous mage's tower and break into the school through a window in an attempt to rob it. Dropping into a plethora of mage antiquities ripe for the stealing, they begin to loot the place, stealing whatever they can fit in their bags.
A dragon tooth, put it back. Okay, what about a gold dragon tooth? It's too big.
With Snails eventually setting off an illusion box and causing a racket. Vilden works in the tower with the aid of his young mage apprentice Marina, attempting to decipher the map of the Rod's location with Manicore Wing. The two hear a crash from the room over but just assume it's a lab creature loose again, so Marina is sent in alone to check it out. Ridley and Snails are busted by Marina, who doesn't believe their lie of being cleaners, and casts a magical rope on them, planning to submit them to the dungeons. Hearing a commotion coming from the library, Marina rushes off, dragging the boys along with her due to her spell, to find Damodar interrogating Vilden on the map's location.
Never!
Having refused to tell him, Vilden heroically throws Marina the map, causing Damodar to kill him. Marina uses a spell to knock Damodar and his soldiers away, giving her time to cast a portal and escape to a poorer part of Izmir, but the Crimson Brigade pursue them through it. During the chase, Marina frees the thieves as they are the least of her concerns, and they come across a dwarf fighter named Elwood who gets caught up in the trio's problems. He attempts to go at Damodar with his axe but decides to just leg sweep him and flee, with the three joining him as they escape out the back of his shelter and into the city sewers. Damodar has them framed for the murder of Vilden with a reward out on their heads, so the group make plans to leave the city. Back in Profion's chambers, disappointed with his general's failure, he infects Damodar with a magical worm-like creature in his brain, stating that it will vacate the premises when he captures the party and brings them back to him. Profion then suggests that Damodar follow the Emperor's best tracker, who is also on the hunt for the party. While hiding out in a tavern, Marina tries to decipher the scroll while the two friends teach her about the term, honor among thieves. They begin to bicker about the state of the Empire, as Marina is wanting to restore it to its former glory, and the rest see no benefit to it. Recognizing the lock spell on the map, having had his dad use similar runes to protect his carriage blueprints, Ridley speaks some words over it and is instantly transported inside.
See that there? I knew that boy had talent.
So the mage joins him. While Snails and Elwood wait around the tavern for them to return, Snails spots an attractive elf enter, and after getting some love pointers from Elwood, he approaches to meet a stubborn ranger who gives him nothing. Having paid an informant for their location, Damodar arrives with his men, but is spotted by Elwood, who causes a fight to break out. With the soldiers all getting caught up in the commotion, he takes Snails and the two escape into the woods. Snails then calls Ridley and Marina out of the map, and they tell the group they spoke to a wraith, who gave them directions to a dragon temple where the rod's being held. However, in order to get into the temple, they must first find a thieves' guild in Antaeus to obtain a ruby called the Eye of the Dragon. Snails wants no part in it and wants to just leave until this all blows over, but Ridley convinces him that they will steal the ruby and split it, all while the elf watches on. The party arrives in Antaeus and spot a local thief working his way through the market. After stalking him for a bit, they confront him on directions to the guild, but branding them outsiders, he refuses their request. So they decide to follow him instead, being led right into the heart of the den but being captured by the guild members. They are taken to the king of thieves, Xylus, who shows Ridley respect as a fellow thief, but not much. He tells them that in order to obtain the Eye of the Dragon that they seek, they must make their way to the center of the guild's deadly maze, famously known to all thieves but never having been survived. Entering the maze alone, Ridley encounters swinging blades as the thieves' guild bet on how long before he dies. He uses his acrobatics to make it through and move into the second room, where flames begin spurting from the walls, being triggered by pressure plates. The wall begins to close on him as the floor tiles begin to change, so he just legs it through the corridor into the next room. Finally, at the vault door, the roof begins to close on Ridley as the vault turns into a wood chipper, so he smashes the hourglass, counting down, causing the ceiling and door to retract. Obtaining the Eye of the Dragon, Ridley is congratulated by Xylus for his success but is soon demanded to hand the ruby over, citing that the leader has waited 15 years for someone to obtain it for him. Thankfully, Damodar arrives at the guild in the nick of time, so Ridley sets the map on fire, making him let them through or else never finding the staff's location. But with Xylus having other plans, his men jump the Crimson Brigade and a fight ensues, where Damodar captures Marina and the map, but Ridley and Snails manage to escape the tavern, but are captured soon after by another group, elves led by the lady from the bar who introduces herself as Norda, the Empress's tracker. Having heard their side of the story, Norda Mirror calls Savina and reports to the Empress that Damodar has already taken Marina and the map, so the Empress commands Norda to find and retrieve them both. Elsewhere in his castle, Damodar pleads with Marina to help him obtain the rod, saying that he has served the Empress loyally for years but that Profion has a hold over him. When she refuses, he reveals his head worms, using them to suck the information from her brain, learning that the group has the Eye of the Dragon, and that it is needed to obtain the rod. Norda tracks Marina's location while Snails finds out that she is 234 years old.
Damn.
And the group learn dwarves are afraid of horses. Ridley and Snails stage a rescue by using their rogue skills to sneak inside Damodar's camp while Norda and Elwood remain outside. They distract the beholders and sneak past the guards, splitting up when they get inside, with Snails going for the map and Ridley going for the girl. Ridley easily finds and rescues the terrified Marina, but while attempting to steal the map from Damodar's chamber, Snails gets trapped in a quicksand rug, before being found and thrown around the room by the general himself. Snails manages to slash at Damodar with a knife and escape the chambers, only to get outside to an enclosed courtyard. Damodar and Snails have a showdown atop the castle, with the highly trained and armored Crimson General easily beating the thief. Ridley and Marina, having been caught up with guards inside, arrive to find Snails defeated, and try to offer the stone for his life. But Snails throws them the map like Vildan, causing Damodar to kill him, and throw his body from the castle wall. Ridley charges him only to hit nothing but steel, and eventually being stabbed by his own sword. Marina spots a bag of magical dust that Snails had stolen from the general's quarters and uses it to cast a spell at Damodar, and another that creates a portal, escaping with Ridley as it closes behind them. Back at the Council of Mages, Savina and Profion are publicly debating in front of the council whether or not the Empress should give up her gold scepter to Profion. The Empress stands her ground, demanding equal rights for the non-magical people of Izmir, and claiming that she will not give up the scepter, believing that the evil mage only wants it to leave the city defenseless. Though when the Empress leaves, Profion calls for war against her to the applaud of the council. The Fellowship are led by Norda to an elf village, where their king heals Ridley of his wounds, saying that unlike humans, elves don't need spells to cast magic. The king warns them that if dragons are destroyed, then the balance of magic will go along with it, saying that Profion is very close to this. That night, Marina offers her condolences for Snails, but Ridley dismisses her as she cannot understand what it's like to be a commoner, and he no longer wishes to fight in this war. Marina tells him that the Empress wants to make all commoners and mages equal, and that this is what Snails died for. So they kiss, as the tiny demon spy watches them from a distance. The party leave the village and make their way to the dungeon that holds the Rod of Savril. Ridley is first to enter the dungeon, but the others cannot follow due to a magical force field, so he carries onward alone, eventually falling through a trapdoor and happening across a statue made to look like a red dragon. After placing the Eye of the Dragon into an empty socket on the statue, a doorway opens to reveal a vast room of treasures. Apologetically, Ridley ignores the contents of the room, and approaches a skeleton hanging on a hook with a rod in hand. The skeleton comes alive and states that it is Savril, cursed with the crime of trying to control dragons, waiting for a worthy person to come and take the rod from him. Ridley takes the rod, but not before Savril warns him that whoever wields the rod will suffer a horrible fate, for the evil it creates cannot be undone until the spell is broken. Without telling him how to break the curse, Savril passes on, and Ridley gains the power to control all the red dragons in the land. Outside the council, the Empress uses her rod to call for the golden dragons to attack. With Profion leading the council, he tries to form a counter-attack but has little effect on the creatures as they begin to destroy the tower. Using ballistas, the Crimson soldiers manage to kill a gold dragon. So the Empress calls the dragons back in order to lead them herself. Exiting the dungeon, Ridley finds that the party has been captured by Damodar and his troops. Ridley gives the rod in exchange for the party's life, but Damodar orders his men to kill them anyways. So the group begin to fight their way out, killing Damodar's men as he opens a portal to return with the good news to Profion, but Ridley alone manages to follow Damodar through before the portal closes. Damodar gives the rod to Profion, who in turn removes the brain worm creature from his head, then uses the rod to summon red dragons onto the board. The Empress stages another attack personally but begins to get attacked by the red dragons. Meanwhile, Ridley confronts Snail's killer and the two begin to duel, with Damodar defeating Ridley with sheer strength but the light-footed thief beating him with his agility, stabbing him in the back before throwing him from the tower. Ridley tries to attack Profion but is no match for him, until he is about to be killed and the group show up, not doing anything to the powerful mage but effectively knocking the rod away from him long enough for Ridley to obtain it. Marina encourages Ridley to use the rod to kill Profion, but feeling the rod's corruption, Ridley refuses and destroys it. The Empress appears to confront the now weaponless Profion, but he almost overtakes her with his dark magic, until she uses her staff to have a golden dragon eat him whole. In the aftermath of battle, the Empress declares that everyone in the kingdom is now equal. On the day of Ridley's knighting ceremony, he along with Marina, Elwood and Norda visit Snail's grave. After saying his goodbyes, Ridley places the Eye of the Dragon on the cairn. As he does, the name Snails engraved in the headstone disappears, and the gem begins to glow. Norda tells him not to question it, and as they take the eye in their hands, the group are turned into balls of light and taken to see Snails. And the movie ends. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.